not even, and I'm going to be exploring ChatGPT and some other tools in the future, though today I want to talk about a tool called Yoodli, and I'm going to put it up here. Yoodli is an amazing, amazing AI tool that I have fallen in love with over the past couple of months. I want to say thanks so much to Terry and Gina from the Stark Raving Entrepreneurs with their tech tips and introducing me to it. Now, you might be wondering, let's get this out of the way. How much does it cost? As of now, when I'm recording this video, it is free. $0, 0 cents. I'm not getting any affiliate payout. I'm not getting any marketing from this. It's just a tool that I found and love. And I love sharing my tools. I don't consider myself a tech person. However, I do love using technology when it makes life easier. And so when you go to Yoodli.ai, it's there on the screen, whatever. It's a system that you can use to practice your presentations. Now, there's other applications of it, recording meetings and doing things. I'm not going to get into that part of today. What I want to talk about using Yoodli for is practicing your presentations. Now, this especially goes for those of you that are still meeting on Zoom. It's a little bit different in person, but I think both can be great to practice your presentations. Sometimes I think about Yoodli as almost Toastmasters. It's counting things. So one of the things it does is analytics, and it looks at 3 different things. Listening, which I'm not going to really talk about, is if you're doing a meeting. And so this is an interesting tool. If you record a one-to-one or a group meeting, you can see how much did I talk? How much did the other person talk? And it gives you some insight into how that breaks apart. You do just have to ask the other person if you can use it. Though the other 2 components do apply to you practicing your presentation. So first thing we have is word choice. Now, Toastmasters is infamous for counting your ums and your ahs. And so it actually records what are your filler words. So those things that kind of put in a little bit of extra. And so this can help you if you're worried about the ums and ahs to kind of see where you're at with it. It also counts those double words, which I'm about worse at the double words than I am the ums and ahs. However, now that I know that, I can work to improve it. And so it will actually count each of the different things that you're saying. And so sometimes it's fun when it's conversational because you can see, ooh, what are those words like, so, ready, however, that you might be using to transition. So I love it for that aspect of it. Walk on your word choice. Now, it does have a part also in word choice for, I think it's uninclusive or inclusive, stuff that might exclude people. Should have wrote it down, whatever. That's what happens when we do some videos. Now, it's not always perfect. For example, I got dinged the other day because I said crap. So it's not saying that you can't say them or you shouldn't say them. It definitely dings like for real curse words, but it will take a look and say, oh, Tiffanie, in that 2-hour program, you used guys 4 times. Maybe you should switch over to folks or something gender neutral. So it gives us that opportunity. Now, under the analytics, another thing it talks to us about is the delivery. And it looks at a couple of different things. Number 1, it measures your eye contact. Yep, it measures your eye contact. And if I'm in a one-to-one meeting, I'm not as concerned with my eye contact being 100%. However, from this video, I mean, I know I have to look down to like do my mouse or change the caption, but my goal is that my eye contact is pretty much the majority of the time, because that way I look like I'm looking at the audience when we're on Zoom. It also says, how centered are you? And I'm not saying that you have to be 100% centered. And on videos, it's a little bit different, but especially when it comes to being on Zoom, it does seem like centered is better. So you look at the camera, centered, oh yeah, smiling. Now, luckily for me, that's one I'm pretty good at. So I am not worried about my smiling. Though, pay attention to that. Oh, and one other thing on the delivery. I have a tendency to talk fast. And if you think I'm talking fast now, you should see me regularly. And I know that for some people that's fine. However, we want to make sure I'm not speaking too fast. So I do have my little turtle here. I'd like look at him to make sure I could see him. So I kind of took my eyes off the camera. But this is my little turtle, Speedy, to help remind me to slow it down a little bit. I was averaging in almost the 180s for my speed. Now I'm in the low 170s, which is much better. I got down in the 160s, that's probably a good balance of really quick, really slow as we go throughout. So it sees how fast you're talking or how slow you're talking for some of you, because just like too fast can be hard, too slow can be hard as well. So that's a little bit on the analytics. One cool feature that I just discovered 2 weeks ago as I'm looking around, I don't know if I had just not seen it before or if it was new, and that's key points you heard. So Yoodli actually goes through your entire presentation or conversation and say, here are the key points that were heard. And if you're working on a weekly presentation or a featured presentation and you think, okay, here are my key points, and none of those show up on Yoodli, you may need to examine it. Which brings me to a good time. I need like a sign for disclaimer. Yoodli is AI, doesn't mean it's perfect. And so it may not pull the key points that you wanted. Though if it didn't pull any of them, that might be a way of saying, I need to somehow, some way emphasize more. These are the key points of our conversation. And so I do like it from that standpoint. Also, if you're working in recording your presentation to deliver at BNI, do it in such a way that you would do it and make that a YouTube video. Take snippets of it and turn it into YouTube shorts or put on LinkedIn. And that gets me a little ahead of myself because I didn't even think about going here until just now. But if we're practicing it and we're happy with the results, probably not the first time, but the fourth or fifth time maybe, then we're able to go, oh, okay, here we go. Put that out there on social. Okay. Getting back to these key points we heard, again, gives you an opportunity to see the key points. I also like this for YouTube descriptions of videos. I don't usually cut and paste exactly. I usually want to edit it and make it my own, but it's a great thing that we can do. Last part of Yoodli I want to explore is the fact that it offers transcripts. And transcripts, I found Yoodli does a little bit better than Zoom when it comes to transcripts. Not always, but sometimes. And so you have the entire content of your presentation. Now, if you wrote your presentation in advance, word by word, kudos, that is amazing. That's how I did my presentations when I first got into BNI. It's been 18 years for me. And so I'm a little bit better now in my speaking skills that I don't have to write it out word for word. I used to, but no, not anymore. And so as we think about this transcript, if you haven't written it word for word, then you can take that transcript, feed it into another one of my chat GPT. One of my technology favorites, chat GPT. And I say, please summarize this as a LinkedIn post, as a 1,000-word article, as a social media, whatever you want to do, so you can begin to repurpose this content. Yeah, turn my presentation into an article, bang, article, blog, all kinds of fun things you could do with it. Maybe you even turn it into a carousel on LinkedIn. I threw a whole bunch out at you. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry about that yet. We'll do an upcoming event talking about some of that stuff. But you're able to take that content and now you're using your presentation and you're multi-purposing your content. We are back to that again. I think that anytime we can use something again and again and again, it is very powerful. And so Yoodli does have a lot of tips and tricks and things that you can do. Best bet is to get in there, play around with it. Practice your weekly presentation, practice your featured presentation, get the feedback. If you can deliver a more powerful presentation with passion during your BNI meeting, the members are going to be much more attracted to that. And they are going to want to refer you more often and more and bigger referrals. And that's me. I'm all about the more. So these are a few of the tips that I have for using Yoodli for your presentation. Do me a favor in the comments, chat, all of that below. Let me know, what are some of your tips and tricks when it comes to Yoodli? Or have you never even heard of it before at all? I look forward to hearing how you use it, how you're able to multi-purpose your presentation, your content, so that you get more out of it than just the one BNI featured presentation. Oh, and using Yoodli and doing it on Zoom, because that's how you use Yoodli. I should have said that at the beginning. You can just hook it up. It will be in your Zoom meeting. And it gives you the opportunity to just make the most of your presentation. Practice it, practice it, practice it, so you can deliver with power and passion that will increase or give you that profound profitability. All right, I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Happy Memorial Day, all y'all.